Okay guys, this is probably my favorite thing to do using double strokes with the feet. The sound and the combinations that come out of it and the beats that come out of it, I think are so cool. And it's something that using single strokes, a lot of times it's really, really hard to do. And that is 16th note triplets with the feet. With the feet. Using double strokes. Okay, so let's just look at exercise 1. I want to go through exactly what's happening here. If you know 8th note triplets, and I'm sure you do, there's 3 counts per quarter note, okay? And so you'll see exercise 1 there. I've written in 6 counts per quarter note, and basically we're playing 8th note triplets with our legs. All right, so it's just 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Let me just show you that sounds. I'll put on a metronome at 80 beats per minute and show you what 8th note triplets sound like. Okay, so this is probably going to be a lot easier for you than it looks on the paper, so don't let the paper scare you or anything like that. You'll be able to get this. So now your legs are doing the same thing. If you saw my legs there, they're just going up and down. And with the heel-toe technique, it's literally that simple. So let's put on the metronome again, and I'm going to show you how it looks doing the actual double stroke roll as 16th triplets. All right, so that is what you need to do in order to learn this. Maybe put on a metronome, 80 beats per minute, and go from 8th note triplets to 16th triplets. 8th note triplets to 16th triplets. Do that as long as you need to till you get comfortable with the feel of the 16th note triplets with your feet. And then the next step here is in exercise 2, which we have the hi-hat on 8th notes and the snare drum on beats 2 and 4, and this is where it's a little bit confusing, and this is where the whole independence of the hands and the feet come into play. You'll see we're hitting the hi-hat on it's just an 8th note beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the hi-hat is on the 1 and the 2 and 3 and 4 and. But what happens is the and hi-hat is always on the second note of the double stroke. And so that's where everything becomes challenging. Hitting the snare on the 2 and the 4, you're not going to have a problem with. But making sure the hi-hat lines up with the second double stroke, right on the end, that's where it's going to be most challenging. So what I recommend you do is really just maybe start out just doing quarter notes with the 16 triplets. And then eventually, you'll start to feel it in your head because you're used to playing an 8th note beat. I'm guessing. Most people are used to playing an 8th note beat because that's what they generally start out playing drums on. And so maybe just start quarter notes, and then eventually you can just work it in there, and you won't even have to really think about it. You won't have to think about, you know, making sure you're trying to line up perfectly with the double stroke because the feet are doing their own thing and the hands are doing their own thing. All right, so let me just play it for you with, I'm not actually going to play number 2 yet, but I just want to play it for you using quarter notes on the hi-hat, snare drum on beat 2 and 4, and then after that, I'll play the hi-hat on the 8th notes. Okay, so it sounds pretty heavy. So now let's try it with the 8th notes on the hi-hat. Okay, and so that's kind of the foundation beat for this lesson. You know, the right hand and whatever you want to do on the snare drum, that's completely up to you. What I recommend you do is just learn that first, and then just experiment, you know, with changing minor things, like maybe move the right hand to the floor tom, or the right hand to the ride cymbal, or in between the hi-hat in the ride. Let me just kind of show you a few ideas and what you can do to actually just expand exercise number 2 even more. All right, so like I said, that's just the starting point. It's very, very easy for you guys to take these ideas and make them into whatever you need them to be for the style of music that you guys are playing. So let's go on to number 3. Basically now we're just starting to break it up a little bit. And this is where it's going to help you to actually just start and stop playing the 16-note triplets. I know what happened for me was I learned how to do the roll, the 16-note triplet roll, but then when I wanted to do something broken up, like do it for either 1 beat or 2 beats or something like that, every time I started it, it wouldn't line up with the actual time. And every time I ended it, because I end with the left, you'll see there on exercise 3, it just didn't sound right. And so it's something I really needed to work on. And so I figured you might have the same problems as me. If not, well, you're extremely, extremely lucky. So let me demonstrate number 3 for you now. And number 4 basically just goes to having it on 1 beat. Okay, so we're just doing it on count 3, and your left foot is only used for 1 set of double strokes. So let me show you how it sounds. And now the final one I put in there, I wanted to really, really challenge you guys with this. And it's basically, you're going to be leading with your right hand on the downbeat, on the 1. And then on beat 3, you're going to be leading with your left foot. Okay? And so this is a little bit more advanced. And so if you're not really strong with your left foot yet, this is the time to work on it. No better time than now. So let's do number 5. I'll play it for you at 80 beats per minute. All right, so that's all the 16th note triplet exercises I have for you today. This is something I'm still developing. It's something, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm so excited to share with you guys because it's not something I see a lot of drum teachers teaching these days. And I think it's actually very, very useful, especially for guys, number 1, who struggle to go really, really fast using single strokes, who need to kind of pace themselves throughout the night because doing single strokes is harder than doing double strokes, in my opinion. And they just sound cool because they add a completely different texture to the beat. And they make it sound more swingy and not necessarily as heavy. It's almost like it's like a funky metal, funky heavy metal, if that's what you guys want to call it. And that's what I'll call it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you guys soon.